In this video, we'll be studying one more special concrete called as lightweight concrete. So in the previous video, we studied about self-compacting concrete. So we'll continue with the one more type of special concrete called as lightweight concrete. So these are the contents that you are going to study. Introduction of lightweight concrete, principle of lightweight concrete, types, characteristics, advantages, disadvantages, and application. So first we'll start with the introduction. So lightweight concrete is a special concrete which weighs lighter than the conventional concrete. So in the conventional concrete, so the one of the disadvantages is the high self weight of the concrete. That is, if you take a conventional concrete, if you take its own weight like of beam or column or slab, so the self weight of the beam, that is the own weight, the permanent load, so all those are the same term. Okay, so the permanent load which is developed from the beam, column or slab, usually it will be on the higher side. That is one of the disadvantages in the conventional concrete. So the density of a normal concrete or a conventional concrete, it ranges from 2200 to 2600 kg per m cube. So this heavy self weight somewhat makes the structure as uneconomical structure. Okay, whereas so many attempts have been made in the past to reduce the self weight of the material and also to increase its efficiency as a structural material. There are so many research have been done in the past. Okay, so here in the lightweight concrete, so as the word say lightweight, so it's a lightweight concrete whose density varies from 300 to 1850 kg per m cube. If you see a density of the conventional concrete and if you see a density of a lightweight concrete, so it variably decreased. Okay, so normal concrete it weighs from 2200 to 2600, whereas lightweight concrete weighs from 300 to 1850. So what is the advantages now of having a low density? Okay, so first, it helps in reduction of the dead load. That is, dead load will be reduced because of a lightweight concrete. So the dead load of the concrete will be reduced, and also it increases the progress of a building since the dead weight of the structure will be reduced. So we can able to complete the building construction in a very good progressive way, and lowers the handling cost. Okay, so since the material will be of lower density, we can able to handle it very easily. Okay, so these are some of the advantages in the lightweight concrete. So there are three types of lightweight concrete. One is lightweight aggregate concrete, second one aerated concrete, and third one no fines concrete. So here another most important characteristic of lightweight concrete is the relativity of low thermal conductivity. So here in the lightweight concrete, it reduces the thermal conductivity, so which improves with the decreased density. So lightweight concrete has become more popular nowadays, especially in the recent years, because of its tremendous advantages over the conventional concrete. So lightweight concrete has gained its popularity compared to a conventional concrete. So a particular type of lightweight concrete called structural lightweight concrete is the one which is comparatively lighter than the conventional concrete, and at the same time it is strong enough for the other structural purposes. So here we have three types of lightweight concrete. One is a lightweight aggregate concrete, second one is aerated concrete, and the third one no fines concrete. So we'll study what are the principles behind lightweight concrete. So the basic principle behind the making of lightweight concrete is by inducing the air in the concrete. Okay, so by inducing the air in the concrete, we can able to achieve the concrete as the lightweight. So to achieve the above principle, we have three different types. Okay, so by replacing the usual mineral aggregate by cellular porous or lightweight aggregate. So here, in the concrete we are using a normal conventional material like cement, sand, coarse aggregate and water. So here, by replacing the aggregates by the lightweight aggregates, usually the specific gravity of the aggregates is around 2.6 to 2.8. So this aggregates, if it is replaced by the lightweight aggregates whose specific gravity is less than 2, then the concrete would develop will be a lightweight concrete. Second one, by introducing the gas or by introducing the air bubbles in the concrete. So by introducing the air bubbles in the concrete, that is, we are making the structure as porous structure. Okay, so by introducing the air or gas in the concrete structure or in the mortar, so we can able to make the structure as porous. Okay, so this is known as a aerated concrete. So we'll study in the coming slides what are the material that induces the air bubbles in the concrete, like what are the mineral aggregates which are lightweight. We're going to study in the coming slides. Next, third one, by omitting sand fraction from the aggregate so that the number of voids, interstitial voids is present. So here, by omitting the sand, so that is called as no fines concrete. So in our overall 100% of volume of concrete, around 65 to 70% volume is of the aggregates. Okay, so remaining 25 or 30% will be of the cement paste. Okay, so here, by omitting the sand fraction from the aggregates, so that by removing the total volume or total quantity of sand, so then we are removing certain portion in the concrete. So in a concrete, what will be there? Only will be having cement paste, and with they will be having coarse aggregates. So there will be no fines in the concrete. That is, will be no fine aggregate in the concrete. So this leads to a porous structure. If you take the concrete, it leads to a porous concrete because there will be no fine aggregates. So they will be having only cement paste and with the coarse aggregate. So this leads to reduce in the density of the concrete. So that is why we can able to, that is how we can able to develop a lightweight concrete. So we have three types. One is by replacing the aggregates by the lightweight aggregates so that we can able to achieve lightweight concrete. Second one, by inducing the air or by inducing the gas to the concrete so that we can make the concrete porous. Okay, by using a normal conventional material, by inducing air into the concrete, we can make the concrete porous. So by creating the air voids in the concrete, we can able to achieve the lightweight concrete. So third one, by omitting the sand fraction in the concrete, by keeping only cement paste and the coarse aggregate, we can able to generate a lightweight concrete. So these are the three types of lightweight concrete. So we'll study one by one in the coming slides. So first one is a lightweight concrete. So this is a table of which are the materials that can be used for the any type of the lightweight concrete. So here you can see for no fines, that is no fine aggregate in the concrete. So we have gravel, we have crushed stone, we have coarse clinker. So all these are one of the types of the lightweight aggregates. So here in the lightweight concrete, you can see by using the lightweight aggregates compared to a standard conventional aggregates, we can able to achieve lightweight concrete. So these are some of the materials that can be used under lightweight aggregate concrete. So in the aerated concrete, we have two types, that is by introducing the air bubbles or by introducing gas in the concrete, we can make the we can able to develop a lightweight concrete structure. So that is, one is by using aluminium powder. So by using aluminium powder, you can able to create a gas in the concrete. And second one, by using a chemical called as hydrogen peroxide or by bleaching powder method, we can able to aerate the concrete. That is, by we can able to introduce the air in the concrete by using these chemical aerating agents, or we are able to use a foaming mixture. So in the market you will get foamed foamed foaming agents in the market you will able to get. So from that foaming agents we can able to develop a foaming mixture So like that way also we can able to develop a lightweight concrete. So we'll study one by one. So first one is a lightweight aggregate concrete. So very often lightweight concrete is made by use of the lightweight aggregates. So as you all know, very often lightweight concrete is made by use of the lightweight aggregates. Most of the time we will go for a second type, that is by introducing air in the concrete by using chemical aerating agents or by using foaming agents. We can able to develop a lightweight concrete, because in everywhere we will not get a lightweight aggregates. Okay, so lightweight aggregates we can able to develop we can obtain naturally, or we have to develop artificially. So it depends on the place. So whatever the lightweight aggregate that will be available at one place, it may not be available at the other place. So that's why most of the time we'll go for a we'll develop lightweight concrete from the by introducing air into the concrete. So that's why very often lightweight concrete is prepared by using the lightweight aggregates. We have seen that different lightweight aggregates have different densities. So so if you are replacing a conventional material with the lightweight aggregates, so its densities will be different and its specific gravity also will be different. So basically two types of lightweight aggregates are used. One is natural aggregate and the second one is the artificial aggregates. So natural aggregates will obtain naturally at a certain places will obtain naturally, whereas artificial aggregates we have to prepare it artificially in a factory, or we have to prepare in the where the uh, power plants or any like how we obtain fly ash or blast furnace slag. Similarly, artificial aggregates we have to prepare it artificially. Okay, so natural lightweight aggregates are less preferred over artificial aggregates, because as already mentioned, the reason natural lightweight aggregates may not be obtained at all the places. Okay, so example, pumice is a natural aggregate. So pumice will be obtained at one location, whereas if you go to the other location, there you may not able to get pumice. So where at that time, if you want pumice, then you have to get it transported from the place where the pumice is more available. So that's why natural lightweight aggregates are less preferred compared to artificial aggregates. Whereas artificial aggregates we can able to prepare uh, means anywhere we can able to prepare the artificial aggregates. So the important natural aggregates are pumice and scoria. So you might have studied about pumice. That is, a pumice is a rocks of volcanic origin, so which is obtained at, I mean, it is obtained at many parts in the world. So they are light enough, and it is even if it is light enough, it is strong enough to be used as a lightweight aggregates. Next, scoria is also one of the type of lightweight aggregate of volcanic origin. So compared to pumice, scoria is little weaker. So next, artificial aggregates we have shale, slate, perlite, and vermiculite. So shale, I think you might have studied about all these things in the geology. Shale, slate, uh, perlite, and vermiculite. So perlite is also one of the natural volcanic glasses like pumice. So this is just like a pumice, but it is crushed and heated to a certain temperature, that is around 900 to 1100 degrees centigrade. So when this pumice, it is just like a pumice. So when it is crushed and when it is heated at a certain temperature, it expands. Okay, so that is why it is also called as expanded perlite. Okay, whereas vermiculite is a mineral, that is, it is an aggregate obtained from the mica. It is a micaceous mineral which has a laminar structure. I think you might have seen mica structure in the geology. So it is a micaceous mineral and it has a laminar structure, and this is also just like a perlite. When it is heated at certain temperature, this going to expand. So similar way, it is also called as exfoliation vermiculite. Okay, so this is another name for that. So these are all the artificial aggregates. Even if it is obtained in a natural form, we are converting it into a artificial aggregates by expanding, by heating, or by crushing, or and by heating we are converting it into a artificial aggregates. So in this lightweight aggregate concrete, we can able to achieve the density as low as 300 kg per m cube. We can able to obtain the density as 300 up to 300 kg per m cube. We can able to easily achieve from the lightweight aggregate concrete. And also compressive strength may vary from zero point 0.3 MPa, that is Newton per mm square, to 40 Newton per mm square. If you see the density, conventional concrete is 2200, and if you see this concrete, it is 300. So you can see how the density of the concrete has been reduced by using the lightweight aggregates. So this makes the structure lightweight, and its self weight also will be reduced, because more or less its density has been reduced. So obviously the weight of the structure also will be reduced. So next, by using expanded perlite or vermiculite, just now I told, perlite is just like a natural volcanic origin, just like pumice. But when it is heated up to 300 to, sorry, 900 to 1100, it expands. So that is why it is called as expanded perlite. Vermiculite, as I already told, it is a micaceous mineral. It is also when it is heated at a certain temperature, so this vermiculite also will get expanded. So that is called as exfoliated vermiculite. So if we use these two material, we can able to achieve density as low as 300 kg per m cube can be easily obtained. So you can see there are certain lightweight aggregates and natural lightweight aggregates, and you have some artificial lightweight aggregates. So pumice, as already told, it is a volcanic origin. You have studied in geology too. Uh, then we have scoria, as already told, it is also volcanic erosion, but it is weaker than pumice. Then sawdust. Sawdust, it is a waste product. It is obtained from the timber industry. So this sawdust can be used for a lightweight aggregate concrete, especially in the manufacture of precast products. To in order to achieve lightweight precast products, we can use sawdust. Rice husk also, it is one of the waste material that is obtained uh, from the rice plant. So when the husk is obtained from the rice plant, when it is burnt to a certain temperature, it gives a rice husk ash. Okay, so that rice husk ash also can be used uh, in order to obtain the natural lightweight aggregates. Whereas artificial, this uh, artificial cinders and coke breeze, so these are all are used to cover the material partly fused. It is especially obtained from the combustion of the coal. Okay. Then we have foamed slag. It is also one of the important types of lightweight aggregates. It is obtained from the blast furnace slag. Okay. Next, uh, sintered fly ash. So sintered fly ash also, it is obtained from the thermal power plant. Okay, by heating these small particles, it can by heating these small particles of the fly ash, so it can combine all together, so thus forming pellets. Okay, when it is heated, all these small particles will combine to form a bigger pellets. So this sintered fly ash, when it is cooled, it can be used as a artificial lightweight aggregates. And regarding vermiculite, perlite, I have already explained. And last one is thermocol beads. So you might have seen bean bags. Okay, so in bean bags you can see beads which is there. So even that beads can be used as a replacement for the coarse aggregate in order to obtain the lightweight concrete. So here, by use of expanded slag, sintered fly ash, bolted clay, a concrete of normal 1900 kg per m cube can be obtained. So here in the lightweight concrete, the cement content, it should be in the range of 200 to 500 kg per m cube, whereas the strength of lightweight concrete depends on the density of the concrete. So more or less these even if the density of concrete is less, we can able to use that concrete for the structural building purpose, or for the construction of for the manufacture of the building blocks. So these kinds of natural aggregates or artificial aggregates can be used. Less porous aggregate, which is heavier in weight and produce stronger concrete, particularly with the higher cement content. So that is even less porous aggregate, if the aggregate has less voids, so that produce a stronger concrete. If the concrete produced will be stronger, then obviously its strength will be higher. And also here in the strength of here in the lightweight concrete, the strength can be improved by uh, correcting the grading of the aggregates, then by maintaining the proper water cement ratio, and by uh, adopting the suitable compaction methods, we can able to improve the strength of the concrete even in the lightweight aggregate concrete. So these are all some of the pictures of the lightweight, that is artificial aggregates, as well as of the natural aggregates. These are some of the picture. Pumice, diatomite and scoria, volcanic cinders, sawdust, rice husk. These are all the natural lightweight aggregates. Whereas foam slag, bloated clay, sintered fly ash, expanded perlite, exfoliated vermiculite and thermocol beads, these are all the artificial lightweight aggregates. Next is a uh, aerated concrete. So here in the aerated concrete, as already told, it is mainly produced by introducing air or gas into a slurry. That is, a slurry means it is a composition of Portland cement and uh, um, fine aggregates. Okay, so this aerated concrete is made by introducing air or gas into a slurry, which is composed of Portland cement and finely crushed uh, filler, so that when the mix sets and hardens uniformly, cellular structure will be obtained. So aerated concrete, it is also called as a cellular concrete, where the voids will be in between point 1 mm to 1 mm, 0.1 mm to 1 mm in size. So aerated concrete is also called as cellular concrete because since we are introducing air or gas into a compost slurry of cement, Portland cement and the filler material, when the when the mix sets as well as when the mix hardens, so a cellular structure will be obtained. Okay, that cellular structure is called as a aerated concrete structure. So there are several ways in which aerated concrete can be manufactured. That is, first one, by the formation of gas by chemical reaction within the mass during liquid or plastic state. That is, by the formation of gas. Second one, by mixing foam, preformed stable foam with the slurry. So that is by using a foaming agents mixed with the slurry of Portland cement and the filler material. By mixing that with a foaming agent, we can able to obtain the lightweight concrete. Third one, by using finely powdered metal, that is by using aluminium powder. By using aluminium powder, so this aluminium powder has to be mixed with the slurry, so just like the foaming agent. So this is a chemical aerating agent, that is aluminium powder is a chemical aerating agent. So this finely powdered metal has to be mixed with the slurry, so that when the calcium hydroxide is liberated during the hydration process, so this calcium hydroxide mixed with the aluminium powder, so it liberates the hydrogen gas. So this hydrogen gas gives the cellular structure. So this hydrogen gas, when it is liberated, it forms a pores in the concrete, so that gives the lightweight concrete. Okay, so I hope you understood. That is by mixing aluminium powder with the slurry, that is of Portland cement and filler. So do you know, in the hydration process, when the CSH gel is obtained, so there will be another product, that is calcium hydroxide. So when this calcium hydroxide reacts with the aluminium powder, it liberates the hydrogen gas. So when this hydrogen gas is liberated, it forms the concrete structure as a porous structure. It creates a voids, that is in the range of 0.1 mm to 1 mm in size. This hydrogen gas, when it is liberated, it creates the air voids in the concrete structure. So that makes the overall concrete as a lightweight concrete. So aerating concrete is also referred as a gas concrete. Okay, that is by the formation of gas by the chemical reaction. Second, is also referred as foam concrete, that is by using a stable foam mixed with a slurry, that is foaming agent. So third one is also called as cellular concrete. So cellular concrete is obtained by mixing the aluminum powder with the slurry. So in the second method, that is a preformed stable foam is mixed with the cement and crushed sand. So thus causing the cellular structure when it gets set and hardened. As I already told, this foaming agent when it is mixed with the cement and the sand slurry, so it makes the when it gets hardens, so that makes the cellular concrete. So use of foam concrete has gained popularity not only because of the density but also because of the other properties, mainly the thermal insulating property. So it reduces the thermal insulation in the building, so that's why we can go for a lightweight concrete. So thermal conductivity in the building can be reduced by using the lightweight aggregate. So by using the foaming agents, if you prepare a lightweight concrete by using foaming agents, then it has a better, it has a low density, and at the same time it has a better thermal insulating property. So here, compared to these three types, by use of aluminum powder is quite uneconomical, because if you want 500 grams of aluminum powder, it costs around 700 rupees or 600 rupees. Okay, so it costs more. The amount of for smaller quantity of aluminum powder, so the amount is more. Okay, and also it is obtained only in the industries. Okay, it is not obtained in our normal where the construction materials will be obtained, you will not able to get there. Okay, whereas foaming agents you will get. Okay, foaming agents you will get where there is a dealer of the chemical admixtures and all, you will get a foaming agents. Whereas aluminum powder, it is not readily available also, and if it even if it is available, it is quite costly. So gas concrete is produced by chemical reaction in which gas is produced in the concrete. So in the gas concrete, so by means of a chemical reaction in which gas is produced, so in that way, we can able to obtain the aerated concrete. Whereas in the aluminum powder can be also used as a gas producing agents, because there also uh, hydrogen gas is liberated. So even chemical that is aluminum powder can be used as a gas producing agents also, and also it can be used as a aerating agents. Okay, its quantity is about 0.2% of the weight of the cement, so it can be used at a smaller percentage. Okay, so if you use bigger percentage of aluminum powder, then the liberation of hydrogen gas is more. So in that way, you should not able to use the aluminum powder in a large quantity, because the liberation of hydrogen gas is more, and also it creates a lot of air voids in the concrete, that leads to a smaller density of the concrete, and the strength may not be able to the strength that is obtained from this may not be suitable for the structural behavior. So that's why we should use the aluminum powder in a lighter quantity, that is it's about 0.2% of the weight of the cement. So aluminum powder reacts with calcium hydroxide to liberate hydrogen bubbles. As already told, when calcium hydroxide is liberated from the hydration of cement, so aluminum powder when it is mixed, both combines together, it liberates the hydrogen bubbles. So when it liberates the hydrogen gas, it makes the concrete structure as a lightweight. So other than aluminum powder, we can also use powdered zinc. We can use hydrogen peroxide, or we can use bleaching powder also as a gas producing agents, and also you can use it as a aerating agents, chemical aerating agents. Whereas formed concrete, it is obtained by adding foaming agents. So usually it will be hydrolyzed protein or resin soaps during mixing. So foaming agents will be readily available. You will easily get it in the place where there is a dealer of chemical admixtures or other chemical agents for the construction purpose. There you will get a foaming agents also. So in this case, the concrete of densities 300 kg per m cube, 2100 kg per m cube can be easily obtained. So by using this foaming agents or aerating agents, we can able to easily obtain the concrete of density 300 to 1100 kg per m cube. So if you See, if you heard in the market, we'll get a aero blocks. We call it as a aero blocks. Okay, so just like our cement blocks, so aero concrete blocks will be obtained in the market. So this aero concrete block is nothing but it is a aerated concrete blocks. So aerated concrete blocks, that is nothing. Aero blocks is nothing but it is a block which is having lightweight. Okay, even if it is a lightweight, so it is structurally stable and it can be used for the construction of the wall, as a construction, or for the as a infill in the frame structure. These aerating concrete blocks can be used in the construction industry, because even if it is lightweight and even if the density is less, the strength that is obtained from these lightweight concrete blocks, it is satisfying the highest standards. So that's why it can be used in the construction of a wall or construction of infill in the frame structure. These kinds of blocks can be easily used. So compressive strength, it varies from 12 MPa to 14 MPa if we use a aerated concrete. So aerated concrete has a higher thermal movement, so it has a high thermal resistivity to the thermal conductivity. It has a high resistance and higher shrinkage and higher moisture movement. So here it has a high thermal movement, it has a higher shrinkage, because we are using more of uh, cement paste, so it leads to higher shrinkage. And since cement paste is more, it leads to higher moisture movement compared to a lightweight aggregate. uh, Higher thermal movement, higher shrinkage and higher moisture content will be there in the aerated concrete, but the strength that is obtained from the lightweight aggregate concrete and aerated concrete is almost the same. Lower density grades are used for insulation purpose, that is for a thermal sound insulation or for a thermal insulation. Lower grades can be used for insulation purpose, whereas medium density grades are used for the manufacture of the building blocks, okay, or load bearing walls also. And higher density grades are used in the manufacture of prefabricated structural members in the construction. So there are three grades. If it is low grade, low, if the density is low, then we can use it for insulation purpose. If the density is in the medium range, we can use it for the use for the manufacture of the building blocks, or for a load bearing wall, or in as a infill in the frame structure. Or if there is a high density grade, then we can use it in the prefabricated structural member. So this is a aero concrete block, that is we call it as aero blocks in the market. So aero blocks or aerated concrete blocks or autoclaved aerated concrete blocks, almost all are same. Okay, so this is a aerated blocks.